last 4 years, I've made over $6.5 million in sales on my Shopify print-on-demand brands. And during this time, I realized that by not doing research prior to a launch, you can pretty much destroy a brand before ever bringing it to life. That's why I'm going to show you 2 of my personal stores that I've started and launched and show you the difference between having a store with really good, solid research and having a store with little to no research. And you'll want to stick around until the end because I'll show you exactly how I research now and help others research who are just starting out in print on demand so that they have the best chances in being successful in print on demand the first time around. Research is extremely important, especially when it comes to print on demand. And it's one of those topics where it either gets overlooked and people rush through the research process or barely do enough, or they get stuck in this research phase and have no idea how to get out of the research phase because they get stuck in their head. So the point of this video is actually finding that middle ground of quickly doing research and not doing enough research, or being too critical and doing way too much research that we get stuck. So I'm gonna help you try to find that happy medium in this video today. Now, you're probably wondering, what do I have to say about this? I actually have 2 different brands here. My one brand was my first store that I had ever done. Very little to pretty much no research was completed prior to starting this store. And then I'm gonna show you another store that I started. One that had a lot of quality research and completely blew up. So let's get into it. The first store, as you can see here, was started around May of 2020. This again was the first store that I have ever launched. And during this time, I basically was out looking on the internet for shirts that I liked and that I thought I would wear and thought if I like it, other people will like it too. And I couldn't be more wrong. In fact, as you can see, I launched right around March of 2020, pretty much getting into COVID, and the store only ran for a month because of the fact it was not profitable. So over the course of that month, I did $1,820.24 in revenue. And the unfortunate part was a lot of these orders, I shared it on Facebook with friends and family, and a lot of friends and family purchased from me. So when I started actually running Facebook ads, the ROAS was horrendous. It was horrible. It was absolutely not profitable. And I sat down, I was talking to my now husband, Chris, and his first question was, who was your buyer? Like, who did you have in mind? And I literally could not answer the question. And I look at this store, I don't look at it as like a complete mistake or a flop. And I could have easily said, print on demand doesn't work, I'm done with this, and walk away. But instead, I took everything that I learned from this initial store and saw research really will determine if a store will do well or if it won't do well. Because if we're not researching and looking for what people actually want to buy, then chances are we're not going to be able to sell them. So I took what I learned from this launch of this total flop. I definitely lost money on this, and I actually went back to the drawing board and did a ton of research and decided I was going to start a brand new store that kind of had some different kind of summer vibes because we were going into summer, and I thought, oh, well, if I'm doing some summer kind of designs, that may work. But what I changed this time around was that I looked and saw what was actually selling already in that summertime niche. What were people already purchasing on Etsy, on Google, on Amazon? And from there, I was able to create and tailor a collection that had way better odds of doing well than my original store. The store that just had designs that I liked and thought were really cool, designs that I would maybe wear. So that second store that I did, as you can see, started in June. So pretty much it took me like a full month to basically pivot, get designers working on new designs, getting a brand new Shopify store launched. And this one started seeing traction right off of the bat. And over the course of the summer, basically when I was running this, I found a killer design that just completely crushed. And I did $314,595.45 in sales. So I learned how important it was to do research and really doing solid research and looking at shirts that were already selling online and then making tweaks and adjustments and putting my own flair on it. I ended up finding one design that completely just soared. So that just shows you the difference. And this was a very seasoned store. So I then took what I learned from this store and then started another brand. So we'll take a look at that one and I'll show you how even more research into a niche and more tailored to a specific group of people can crush even more. Now, when we look at the third store that I started, this store had the most solid research behind it. So I was looking at a certain niche of people who like a specific topic. I was also looking at what was already selling within this niche. And at the same time, we had a member on our team who was really interested in this niche and knew more about this niche than probably most normal people would know. So as you can see, this one was started in March of 2022. And over time, we quickly were able to scale this store up to well over 100K per month. In the first 4 months of running this brand, we did $755,097.51 in revenue. So it just shows if you do solid research and you know specific things about this niche and you're looking at what designs are already selling, you are on a way better trajectory of your brand being successful than somebody who's just picking shirts that they just think are cute and ones that they really like. So now that you've seen the 3 different launches of brands that I've started, you can see how the research has progressed over time. And as the research improved, the brand improved. What do I do now and what do I teach others when it comes to researching for your store? And really that comes down to going out and looking at top sellers, top reviews, and top sites. And I'm not saying to go out and steal and rip off designs. Absolutely not. We need to just get an idea for what are people in the niche that you're trying to sell in, what are they interested in the first place? For example, flowers. Are people buying flower shirts that are really simplistic and almost look like a pencil line or hand-drawn? Or are they purchasing really AI-looking flowers and going from there? Are they looking for funny flower puns or gardening puns? You want to just do a broad search across the niche and even things that are slightly outside of the niche. Because something that works in one niche, you could easily adapt that same idea and that same kind of style and just tailor it to your niche. For example, we can look at this design here. As you can see, it says adulting, ridiculous, 1 out of 5 stars, would not recommend. So that's within the aging niche or growing niche, retro. We can take that same style and just apply that to a bunch of other niches. So as we can see, this has gotten good ratings. This seller has 6.4 thousand sales. So they know what they're doing. They know what a good design is. And so that we can then look at this and go, okay, clearly that's a good design. How can I tailor that to my niche? Let's think about it if we're in the coffee niche. How could we make coffee work with this adulting 1 out of 5 stars? Something that we could do would say like mornings without coffee, 1 out of 5 stars, tired, would not recommend. So that is working within that coffee niche because I think we've all been there. If you're somebody who drinks coffee every morning and you don't have your coffee that morning, you're super tired. Everybody can relate to that. So you're taking a design that's already proven to sell and you're changing it, you're tweaking it, and you're putting your own spin onto that design. That there is the difference between somebody who's going to have a launch with $1,000 of sales in 1 month versus somebody who's going to quickly shoot to $10,000 per month in sales. So it's doing stuff like this, finding designs across different niches, even within the niche that you want to sell in, and seeing what is already selling, what are people buying. How can we make designs that are really similar to this, but give it our own flair? And that right there, when you have a full collection of designs like that, you're building a brand that not many people can find online. And that's kind of what allows us to stand out on Shopify versus other marketplaces like Etsy and Amazon. So I will do a broad search. And as I'm going through and searching, I'm taking screenshots and keeping a nice inspiration folder for myself so that I can look back on the designs, on the ideas of the different areas of the niche that like I've expanded on and looked into. And then when I sit down to actually design, I can just go back to my inspiration folder and pull inspiration from there. And it can easily be a way to save you time, save you money, and quickly get a store that has a better chance of taking off and doing well than completely flopping. So when we're looking at Etsy, we like to look at star sellers. We like to see lots of sellers with a good amount of reviews and lots of sales. And it's very similar on Amazon and also on Google. So if we're just searching funny shirts, we can see this one clearly does well. It has over 2,200 reviews. So how can we take something similar to this shirt and just tweak it to our niche? And I'll go through all of these sites. I'll go through Etsy, I'll go through Amazon, I'll go on Google, I'll check Pinterest, and I will even try to find other websites out there that sell graphic t-shirts or whatever product that you're looking to sell, and look and see what is working for them. And if it's working for them, how can I make that also work for me? And so it really is just time consuming of going online, looking at a bunch of sites, looking at the different designs that are out there, creating a big inspiration folder to then lead you to designing high quality designs that take those same ideas and make them fit and work within your niche. And again, we've seen it across the 3 different stores that I have launched. The first, I learned a ton, but it was not profitable, lost money. It clearly was not on any kind of trajectory to do well. But taking what I learned from there and putting it into the next launch, which did better, I saw some significant sales, but then putting even more effort into the research and figuring out more what that niche could possibly want, that's what brought me a brand that just completely soared and took off and did extremely well. So you want to be fast because we don't want to spend 6 months in the research phase. I think if you give yourself at least a week of really doing some solid research and making sure that your niche is a solid pick right from the beginning, and from there building your inspiration folder to then quickly get designs up and live on your site, that's going to help you get to more sales more quickly. And something that I do also want to point out is when you're in this research phase and you're out on the internet and you're looking at different t-shirts or mugs or blankets and you're trying to find what is selling within your niche, if you're not seeing solid research about your niche, you can easily pivot. And it doesn't mean that you can't make it work. I think we really can make any niche that we pick work in this day and age. But if you're not feeling it as you're researching, you can absolutely pivot and find something else. And it doesn't mean that niche it sucks or it's broken, but it just may not have as much popularity among other people. So keep your niche nice and broad, and then from there you can niche down within that broad niche, if that makes sense. So for example, if you're really into techno music, that's great. Everybody, I think, has their own genre of music that they love. But instead of just focusing, I'm going to go down the rabbit hole of just techno, you're putting yourself in this small little bubble. Instead, I would start nice and broad and do music as a whole genre. And then from there, you can niche down within little pockets and little genres within music. And from there, you can tailor your site to what people actually want to buy. And I think that's kind of the beauty of knowing what I know at this point, is keeping things more broad than really niching down into one specific area and being able to give that feedback to other people, because I really let Facebook do the hard work for me. I just will do enough research on my broad niche so that I can hit different areas of the total niche. And from there, I let Facebook do the testing and do all the hard work and figure out what people actually want to buy. And from there, I just create more designs that are similar to that or within that area of the niche that people like. So my recommendation would definitely be keep it broad, slowly niche down, and you should have no problem having a successful launch. Research has been an extremely important piece of starting a print-on-demand brand, and I've learned that slowly over time through a lot of trial and error. But I learned that if you put that time into really doing the research up front, that you can have a way easier launch than putting no time or effort into researching at all. So if you enjoyed this and you're interested in learning and you want to know some of my advice that I would give after $6.5 million in Shopify sales, then check out this video here.